United. Matthijs de Ligt joins us pitchside at Old Trafford now. Matthijs, thanks for joining us. What's the mood like in the dressing room you've just left behind?
Yeah, obviously really happy. Really important win for us. It wasn't an easy game today, especially the first half was quite difficult. But yeah, the fact that I think 15 minutes before full time, you score 3 goals, you win 3-1, 3 points are really important for us.
A word for Diallo, I suppose United's hero, in the way that he came up trumps in the closing stages. It's incredible for a guy who's only 22.
Yeah, he's really important at the moment. He's having a lot of confidence at the moment. He's playing really well. He's playing really well also between the lines, on the side. And I think today what was really important was that he still had the energy to make these runs, to make this 1-against-1, because that's obviously how they play, 1-against-1 on the whole pitch. So yeah, the fact that he could still do that in the last minutes was really important.
I have to ask you, did you see that coming with 81 minutes on the clock at that point?
Yeah, you always believe, and especially against teams from Juric, the coach. I know him from Italy, the way their team's playing. It's always really aggressive, but in the last minutes they always get a little bit tired and you get a lot of space, and I think you saw that today. I think the fact that we kept believing in winning this game was really important, and yeah, obviously 3-1 in the end. To say that I knew that it was going to happen, it would be a lie, but yeah. I still believed in it. Yeah,
of course. Thanks for your honesty, though. But, you know, up until that point, why was it United were unable to find that kind of standard of performance that we saw against Arsenal and Liverpool before?
Yeah, I think the way they play is 1-against-1 on the whole pitch, and to win a game like that is important to win your duels. And I think especially the first half, we couldn't get out of our half. Every ball we lost on our own half, and then it's difficult to play. Then it's also obviously the confidence goes down of the players. The crowd also feels that it's difficult for us to play, and you see that the confidence is dropping then in the players. And yeah, I think especially the second half, especially in the end, when you felt like they were becoming tired, we got more chances. The crowd was standing behind us, and we got more energy to make the action to score goals.
Yeah, it also felt like a real squad effort towards the end, because the substitutes more than played their part too.
Yeah, really important, really important. Joshua Zirkzee today was really important with his hold-on play. I think he won a lot of duels. Anthony, who came in, who was really unselfish to play also in the end a position that he definitely doesn't like to play as a right wing back, but he did it for the team because Ahmad was tired. Yeah, and Toby Collier, who came in with so much intensity, and there's probably another player who came in, I don't know at the moment, but yeah, that was really important.
And how much does the nature of that victory continue that feel-good factor from what you've developed in recent weeks? It's that first home league game of 2025 you've won. You've got Brighton next at Old Trafford. I mean, that's also going to bring its own challenges.
We have to do much better, especially the first half, the way we played. I think the way we build up, the way we lost all our duels in our own half. We know we have to improve that. But the fact, and I think you saw that in Anfield, you saw that also in the Emirates, the fact that we kept believing, we kept fighting, we put the intensity in, that is something that is really improving, and that is, I think, the base of becoming a great team. And yeah, then we still have to get time to learn some automatic movements, but I'm sure that will come in the next upcoming weeks.
Great stuff. Thanks for joining us tonight. Well done today.
Thank you.
Build them out is a bit of an understatement, Owen.
Big time. And he deserves his new deal, because he's the one, you know, even you saw in that game against Manchester City, they didn't play great, but Ahmad showed up right at the end in the big moments. And, you know, he's only 22, but for such a young man, he has a feel for the big moments. I mean, imagine if they would have lost to Southampton today. 82 minutes, they were 1-0 down. And somehow he just grabbed the game. He got the ball and he just kept running at people, committing people. Okay, at times you get a little bit of good fortune, like he did with the little ricochet Walker-Peters, but he makes things happen. Man United fans are used to seeing wingers get on the ball and make things happen, and Ahmad does that. So credit to him. You know, he's smiling, he's scoring goals. He's just, you got to love watching him.
Yeah, and at 22, to show the composure that he did, you know, because everything was on the line, really, wasn't it, for Manchester United at that point?
He's a confident player, and I think even just listen to his interview, he's got an attitude and a charisma about him that I think is exactly what Man United need a little more of. That's the one we spoke about, the ricochet, but just because he comes in with intensity, it almost helps him get that ricochet. That's the reason it does fall in his favour. And
he's so positive, isn't he, Rachel?
he wants to get at
He's straight at you.
Yeah. And it's a good finish. You know, he knows he's going to probably hit it hard, and he keeps it low. Ramsdale tries as quickly as he can to make himself big, and you know, he sneaks it underneath him. But he was the one throughout. You know, he wanted to be the difference, and he does it for the team. And I think just the energy he has, you know, bringing the fans involved, and those are the things. On the first half, you know, Højlund getting frustrated. You see other players, they throw the arms up, they get annoyed, they try and, you know, shoot from distance when maybe there's a better option. I feel he's the one, although he's young, he feels like he does more things for the team, and you know, that's why I think it's easy to be pleased for him to see him get the 3 goals.
I mean, you'd expect that to come from some of the more senior players, right? Not somebody who's the club is building the future around, essentially, right now.
But you could tell the way that his teammates were hugging him after he scored.
Yeah.
Do you know, they were like,
Thanks.
Thanks a lot. You know, you saved us a lot of grief.
Yeah.
And that's how they look up to him, even though he's probably one of the youngest out there. He's the guy that they get him the ball and he just runs at people. It wasn't good football, by the way. You know, they didn't play good football today. Southampton were probably equal, but they had a guy out there in Diallo who, he just makes things happen, you know, and sometimes that's all you need, but they definitely need to play better than they did today.
The second goal was a slicker move, the 1-2 with Christian Eriksen.
Yeah, the second goal's a great move, but again, you see him, he gets the ball in a space where he can face up Walker Peters. He walks it down the line, and you just see here Eriksen just... the weight of the pass from him in the first instance allows Eriksen to play it first time. He knows he then has the pace and the power to accelerate. He knows the ball's going to come back to him. And that's also intelligent play. This little pass here, you know, it's soft enough that he knows it's coming first time. Beautiful ball from Eriksen. Just that's a difficult pass.
That's
a really
brilliant ball.
pass.
But not one other United winger would make that run after playing that ball to Eriksen. They'd stand still. He plays the ball and he runs forward, Manutd. He runs into an area where he can affect the game. That's why Eriksen plays in the ball. That's a difficult finish. By the way, you know, the young guy, he just gets it and he runs at you. And he puts defenders under pressure. And you've got to love that. I love just the fact he keeps running. You know, he wants to make things happen. I know it sounds very simple, but it's important.
Yeah, Xerxes was involved in that first, Eriksen clearly in the second. Substitutes played a massive role in the end.
Yeah, well, for both sides, you know, I think obviously for United, and Southampton kind of lost control of the game. I mean, that's why they're 20th. You know, they played so well. We were brave, tried to play football. Oh, Bellis, he's a good young player. Can't make mistakes like that. But one thing, Rachel, we mentioned, Diallo, he presses, doesn't he? He's so good pressing.
And you know, he makes you think you've just a few more seconds than you do, and then he's on top of you. It's really poor, really poor from Southampton. But Ahmad's done that. A few goals United have scored recently, but it's that pressure that he comes at pace, sneaks it, and you know, you see the stats there from just today. He was really the only one that you could highlight.
Because up until that point, you would have to argue Onana was probably the best United player.
Oh, easily. I mean, the amount of saves that he had to make Onana in the game, he was so busy. I mean, at 82 minutes, nobody at Old Trafford would have said that game would finish 3-1. Manchester United. They didn't really look like scoring. But credit to them. You know, they hung in there, and they found a way to win a game where it wasn't vintage. Yeah.
But also what it does do is it just keeps alive that momentum that they generated in the previous 2 games. At one point, it felt like it was going to come to nothing. But the feel-good factor is back all of a sudden, only because in the nature in which they won that game tonight.
Yeah, you score late goals, you get an extra buzz too. I mean, Amarim looked sort of beside himself for most of the game, and then you see him at the end, there's sort of the big smirk. You know, a lot of that's relief. It does continue the good momentum. I do think there will be a lot of questions asked in the coming days before the weekend, because Southampton were the better team. The majority of the game.
They looked like a side bottom of the table for most of that game.
You wouldn't have said so, no. And I think for a club like Manchester United, the last 2 performances, you know, getting after Liverpool, we understand the rivalry there. You know, going up against Arsenal, player down, having to fight. As a player, those things don't ask as much of you, but the character to play against a team that's bottom, that you should dominate, I think today we still didn't see enough. I still think that the players that United have, they need to be able to perform to a higher standard much more consistently.
I mean, Suleimana looked like he had the beating of everyone, didn't he? Dribbling in the first half, he was brilliant. Suleimana, I mean, he destroyed everybody out there, didn't he? He just kept running at Euro, you know, and had to beat him every time. So they'll watch that game back and not believe they didn't get something from the game, Southampton. But for Manchester United, they need to start building, you know, and that could be something. But we keep saying it, but still, what are they, 12 now?
Yeah.
They were 15, they're 12. Obviously, got some big
10
games
clear
coming.
of the bottom three.
I think they got Brighton coming up, Fulham, who are right in and around them. So they need to start building. But the one thing you would say is from the starting 11 that he had out there to what he ended up with, his team virtually changes every game, almost completely. Yeah. So I think he needs to... I know he starts with something, but he looks like he's got to settle in a group of players that he thinks, these are my guys going forward.
Yeah. And you have touched upon it already, and we have to give Southampton credit in the way that they took on the challenge of facing Manchester United. It seemed that they hadn't beaten for 17 meetings, but the way they took the lead from a set piece, Rachel, I mean, this will be, I suppose, will come to infuriate Ruben Amorim more than anything, because it's clearly been a vulnerability of United's.
Yeah, it has, and you know, you go for a system, you see here Martin has highlighted, your job there, you're not marking anyone, your job there is if the ball comes into that front area, you've got to win it. And worst case scenario, if someone tries to affect you, you have to stop them from winning it. Devlin gets a flick and, you know, you slow it down, you sort of saying to Garty, well, he sort of turns his back, it hits him, you know, you could have standing maybe a bit stronger and bigger there, but that happens quickly, so you can understand why he sort of reacts and just throws his body and doesn't sort of deal with it. But that again is basics, which when you're in the position that United are in, you're conceding goals, you have to try and eradicate those moments. And for the most part, Martin is normally, he's very front-footed, he does attack things, but that he got himself caught there, a little lesson for him that, you know, when these things happen often, it puts you on your toes and then you're switched on for the next, you know, set pieces in those same moments.
And look at that, the amount of goals they've conceded from corners already this season is into double figures. Joint most with Wolves, who are in the bottom three.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an issue. It has all season. The one thing you would say is, I mean, I used to play there, you know, on corner and stuff. He's not the biggest Martinez, so, you know, like, dribbling just gets in front of him and it's a flick. And your job, Richard makes a really good point, your job is not to allow anybody in front of you. You know what I mean? Even in front of him. Yeah. And then he gets in front of you. Like, once the flick happens, everybody's in trouble. And that's why the goal goes in. So if somebody's coming, you just bump him, get him out the way, and then you win the header. So I'm not sure that's a position Martinez...
But he's been told to go there.
No,
right?
obviously from the man. But what I'm saying is, I'm not sure. That's normally for like a defensive midfield player, or I think he's better off being in his natural left-sided position. In my opinion. But again, that's up to the manager. But it's been an issue all season.
Well, up until the point Amad Diallo hadn't got on the score sheet, we were saying just now, Andre Onana played his part in keeping the scoreline down and almost making that victory possible in the end. Let's have another look at that double save, for example. I mean, that will be seen as a crucial point in the game.
A really big moment in the game, because at this point I think Southampton were starting to get a little bit of momentum. You see dribbling there, just rolls Martinez. I mean, great skill, that's just great skill. But Onana does really well. First save, gets down low, comes at him quickly, and then the second save, he's up sharp and makes that big block for the second one. But dribbling here, great, just lovely feet to then cut back inside the lick and get shot off quickly. And yeah, Onana's really the hero from the first half.
Yeah. Owen?
Yeah, dribbling was, I mean, he was brilliant. He's only 18 years old, got a lovely left foot, he's quick, he's explosive, gets into those spaces. Onana does great. You know, he made some massive saves in the game there, even that one. You know, his chest, he's got composure and just hits it straight at Onana, who makes himself really big. And he's made a lot of big saves this season, Onana, for Manchester United. And that point in that first half, they were under pressure there, United. Yeah. And Onana kept them in the game.
See, I just wonder how big a call Amorim had to make who to be in goal after what we saw against Arsenal. Bayinde was incredible at the end of it. But, you know, he is his go-to guy in the Premier League this season. In fact, he started all the games so far.
He is. And I think Manutd deserved the opportunity in the Cup. He did have a good game. I think probably... it was something where it was maybe the right decision to keep that continuity with Onana for the league.
Right, let's get...
Many congratulations on the victory, but what's your overwhelming emotion that you've won a game that for a long time it looked like you might lose?
Yes, we had that feeling. We lost some chances. It was not a great game. We didn't do a great game, but I think after Liverpool and Arsenal, I felt the team a little bit tired and always late, especially in the first half, and with a lot of problems between the lines. The speed of Sulemana was really hard to catch, and they create some chances also. But then we improved in the second half. They lost some strength because they were doing man-to-man during the pressure. Then we take control of the game. We create chances. You had a feeling that it's going to be hard, but in the end, I think we deserve the win.
Were you surprised by Southampton, the fact that they deservedly led and might have scored more than the one goal they managed in the first half?
I was not surprised. I know that this coach puts a lot of intensity. His style is known in Italy. They were stronger in the duels in the first half, but like I said, then the second half they lose some power. And we took advantage of that. And I think the most important thing in this moment is to win, and we do it.
Amad Diallo has scored some big goals for you. A hat-trick tonight, his first in senior football. Just how impressive was he in that final 12 minutes?
Yeah, he did a great job. Even during the game, he has a lot to improve. He played in a different position today. Then in the second half, he took advantage of his ability, good assists from the players. The last goal was similar from Everton, the recovery. So he did a good job, but he has to prepare for the next game.
He's a young player, obviously, with a lot of responsibility on his shoulders, and he said to us that he felt like somebody needed to step up. How admirable is it that a player of his age, of his stature, is able to contribute in the way that he did?
Yeah, all the players in this team have the same responsibility. He doesn't have to step up. That thing will appear if he do the work. If he train well, good things going to happen. So he has the same responsibility of every player that play for Manchester United. But he's in a great moment. He's doing a very good season. But like I said, we see this in the past with a lot of players, young players in our squad. So he has to continue to work and to play like that.
Thanks for your time. Congratulations. Cheers.
Now, that was really interesting, and that's been one of the features of his interview since he's been in England. He's almost disarmingly honest, and he talks about Amad Diallo at 22. He doesn't have to step up. He's got more senior players around him who should be doing that.
Yeah, he almost seemed a little reluctant to be overly kind to, I think, Amad Diallo tonight, which maybe is just his way of managing it. You know, maybe privately there will be more confidence given to him, because I think tonight he did show what he was about. And age isn't always a relevant factor, but age can be a reason why, you know, younger players don't consistently step up. I think he's right in that everyone has the same requirement.
Yeah.
But it feels like Amad Diallo is the one who too often is that person for Manchester United when they do find a way to get a result, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting that he chose to say that there is still room for improvement from Diallo, you know, after the highs of just literally scoring a first senior hat-trick. Is he just trying to keep his feet on the ground here?
No, I think his feet are on the ground already. I don't know why you'd say that, because he's the one that did grab the game. He's the one that did grab the initiative. Nobody else did. So he said, obviously, the other players could, but nobody else did. He's the one that said, right, I'm going to make something happen here. So they were very fortunate to have him out on the pitch today, Amad Diallo, because he's the one that turned that result around, virtually on his own. And I know Xerxes and Eriksson, they had moments in the game, but it was Amad Diallo that came to the rescue. And that's why everybody hugged him like he was
This
Father
saviour
Christmas.
almost.
Yeah, he was.
Father Christmas.
Look, he was a saviour today. And,
Yeah.
you know, and he deserves all the praise. Everybody should be praising, even the manager.
Yeah, and talking of the manager, for Ruben Amorim, that's 10 Premier League games he has now managed since he came from Sporting Lisbon. In that time, he's picked up 3 wins, 5 defeats and a draw there as well. So, right, 2 draws, actually. So, how do we assess the first 10? Did we expect more from them at this stage?
I think we did, yeah.
Much more?
I think because of the success that he had at Sporting, I think we expected just he'd come in. But, I mean, maybe that is a little bit naive. You know, he's changed the formation, changed a lot of things. But 3 wins in 10 is probably not what anybody envisioned. So let's say they're a work in progress. And they're probably going to look a lot different in the summer. But right now, I still think everybody's adjusting to playing this 3-4-3 or however you want to call it. And, you know, goal scoring is still a big issue, for this team. They're one of, easily one of the lowest scorers in the division. And that really can't be with kind of the personnel that they have. So I think they need to step it up in terms of goal scoring. But I'll be interested to see where they finish at the end of the season. Premier League's finished, obviously. You know, that's not got, the top four is over. They got to win the Europa League. If they can win Europa League, then they get into, Champions League football, and that's everything for Man United's season.
I think
it was a must-win match against the team at the foot of the Premier League table. Given Man United's blockbuster FA Cup victory over Arsenal, the Old Trafford fans would have been justified to have high expectations for their team. Sadly, despite being United's easiest fixture of the season on paper, Ruben Amorim's men struggled against Minnows Southampton, who had the hosts against the ropes for much of the contest. It ultimately took some quick thinking from Amad Diallo, as well as a clever substitution by Amorim, to turn a humiliating loss into a last-ditch win over the 20th-place team in the league. As expected, the hosts dominated possession after kick-off. However, they started off slow, choosing to casually maintain possession as opposed to threatening the Southampton defence. 3 minutes in, Manuel Ugarte won a corner. Bruno Fernandes swung in a threatening cross to force a save from goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale. Soon after, the underdogs began to press United heavily, forcing the home team to play out from the back. For a prolonged period, United struggled to get the ball out of their final third. In the 15th minute, it was the underdogs who got the first shot of the match. Mateus Fernandes fired an attempt on goal that Andre Onana comfortably caught. Despite being a soft shot, it showed Southampton's intention to come away with a result. A minute later, Amad raced into the box, laying the ball off to Alejandro Garnacho in the centre. He passed to Fernandes, whose shot was deflected out for a corner. Amad's cross was cleared out of play by Tyler Dibbling. On the cusp of 20 minutes, Rasmus Højlund sprinted into the box, slotting a juicy through ball to Garnacho, who blasted his shot wide. It was an unforgivable error, given the clear goal-scoring opportunity that lay before Garnacho. No wonder Højlund kicked the post in frustration in the aftermath. Garnacho made a dazzling run, dribbling past the Southampton defence and attempting 2 shots which were both blocked. In the 27th minute, Dibbling weaved past the United defence, breezing past Lisandro Martinez and Matthijs de Ligt, forcing a last-ditch save from Onana. The Old Trafford crowd held their breath when Fernandes lined up the rebound, which Onana bravely saved as well. United came agonisingly close to falling behind against the underdogs. Kamaldeen Sulemana produced a great solo display to dribble past de Ligt and Martinez, only to curl his shot wide of the far post. Yet again, Southampton came close to opening the scoring. Just 3 minutes before the break, Southampton scored from a corner as Ugarte turned the ball into his own net. Just moments before, Amorim had been shaking his head in disapproval, almost as if he had predicted what was to come. During 1 minute of stoppage time, Fernandes was booked for dissent as he called for a penalty due to an alleged foul on Amad. Boos echoed around Old Trafford as the half-time whistle blew. It was a humiliating moment for United, who had fallen behind at home to the bottom team in the league. Clearly, a stern half-time team talk from Amorim was needed. United had to show more aggression on the attack and desire in order to find a way back into a game that should have been a straightforward victory without any hiccups. As United emerged from the tunnel, it was evident that Amorim changed tactics. Antony came on for Kobbie Mainoo, meaning that Fernandes had been pushed into a central midfield role.